Colonel Jan Breitenbach was on quite a few exercises that I was on. You know, he was training, and he was quite often, they were like judges, and they were, you know, and watching the exercise. And we had an exercise in Zastron, where we were dropped, the company was dropped up in the mountains, and there was going to be, they were going to move us around. We didn't know exactly, but we worked out afterwards that the PF, there were about 25 of them, they were going to come and harass us on these mountains. And I tell you, the mountains were high, and it was quite something to move around. Anyway, we got into position by that night, and I set up a temporary base, and you tried to give your guys flat ground, but you couldn't, and the rocks, and to dig trenches in that was very difficult. And we're on the side of this bloody mountain. And I don't know, about an hour and a half before dark, checking out with my binoculars, and down in the valley, I see a body moving. I don't know what it is or who it is. So I called one of my corporals, and I said, look, I want you to go down, take one guy, take a radio, we'll keep in contact with you, and we'll lead you onto him. And you know, if it's anybody to do with the army, get him, catch him, bring him back. So we led them down, and they got the guy. And they said it's a corporal, so okay, let him come. And they brought him back up to us, and it was one of these bantam cocky little one-stripe parabat instructor corporals. And we were all older guys, we were all in the middle 20s and that sort of thing. And he was very cocky, and I just said, no, you're going back to headquarters, which is about 5 k's away. I said to my guys, take him there, but don't take any nonsense from him. If he gives you any stick, take his boots away. And it was rough shale and all that sort of thing. If he still gives you strop, give him a good clap. So they go, and they're gone for a long time, and they come back an hour and a half later. And I said, what happened? No, he gave us strops. I said, and then? No, we took his boots away. And he still gave us more strops, so we gave him a clap. And we delivered him to the OC. So the OC obviously took a little bit of umbrage with that. But anyway, didn't say anything to me at that stage. And in the meantime, my radio op took the radio from this guy, and he was checking, and he said there's 6 or 7 of these guys out there, and they seem to be lost. So let's just monitor, and he saved the battery as much as he could. We worked out that my radio op and myself, and with the maps, that over this mountain, and it was quite a way away, in the valley was a little koppie. And then about 1 or 2 kilometers from that, further along the valley, was another koppie. And in that koppie is where the OP was for the permanent force guys. So he got that from the other people who thought they were talking to the little guy that we'd got rid of. So I said to my guys, I've got orders to stay put. So I knew they were going to try and come at us in the night with thunder flashes and things like that. And I can't give you orders to do anything different, but if I had my choice, I would go over this mountain tonight. They said, and by then it was Lieutenant, let's go. You know, nobody wanted not to go. Let's go for it. So we went. And I don't know how I didn't kill somebody that night, going through ravines and all sorts of things. And we worked right through the night. By 5 o'clock, we were in position in that on that koppie, and it was just starting to get light. So we then got in contact with the OPs, on their radio, and we said, look, there's 5 of us managed to get together. Can you guide us in? They said, yeah, okay, because these guys had been lost, but they were somewhere, and their radios were pop, and these PFs were gone. So I said to my guys, just take your smocks off, because we had smocks in those days. Take your smocks off, go with civvy jerseys and things like that. And they did, with your rifles, and they had blanks and full magazines of blanks. I said, just go. And we were on our radio to our guys, and on the PF radio to their guys, and we were pretending we were them. And they led my chaps right onto them, and I said to them, when you get there, as quickly as you can, just shut them up, grab them, gag them, tie them up. So it wasn't too long, and they said, okay, Lieutenant, we've done it, what now? I said, into the main base, creep in, surround it, and one of you give the order, and then you just open up and just empty your magazines. So we wait about 20 minutes, and the next minute we just hear this bloody noise. And there were about 20 or 25 permanent force guys that were having, at 7 o'clock in the morning, they're having their coffee and chatting. These are senior instructors, NCOs, a couple of officers and all that sort of thing. And I said to my guys, okay, come back. These guys were really unhappy. And they're now on their way back. And then the next minute, the major comes on the radio. Williams, you are on commandant's orders. I'm going to have your guts for garters. You have stuffed up a 3-week or 2-week military exercise costing hundreds of thousands. We are going to sort you out. Yes, Major. My guys say, but what did we do wrong? Anyway, I went against orders. And then next minute, in comes this Alouette looking for us. And he finds us, and he comes in, and he lands 30 meters away. And I thought, geez, they've come to arrest me now. And out jumps Captain Jan Breitenbach, and he comes running up to me. And I thought, geez, I steadied myself. I thought, I'm going to catch a clap here. Williams, yes, Captain. That's what we want in this army, is initiative. Forget about the major, I'll sort it out. And off he was gone. I never heard. And after that, the major was saying, would you please take your platoon and go here and go there? That was the end of it. We won the war, and he saved my bacon because he recognized that we used our bloody initiative and we did something. If we caught the PFs on the back foot, bad luck. So
amazing. And Roy, on that story, just to end off, Commandant Breitenbach's obviously a legend, the man who was responsible for forming special forces in South Africa,
sure.
3-2 Battalion. You've worked, a lot of people that were linked to special forces. Chris Moorcroft went on to become a legend, Bestbeer. Is there any regret? You left the army, you'd had enough. Is there any regret? I've no doubt that you would have been part of the first group of special force guys, I'm sure, had you wanted to.
Well, could I just tell you, let me go right back to the beginning. When I was in the Bats, I was very disappointed that we weren't doing special stuff. We weren't doing demolitions. We weren't doing stuff, because I was in the Boy Scouts, and so the army was a doddle for me, and I was disappointed about that. Then I was on a lieutenant's to captain's course here in Oudtshoorn. And during that course, those were great days, because the paratroopers were treated with some real respect that we were not asking for it. But I mean, the guys, there were 3 of us on that course, and we were really treated nicely. And the one day I was walking back to the barracks, and I saw Jan Breitenbach, who was by that time, I think he was a colonel already, and he had a white jersey on, polo neck jersey, and he was walking across the parade ground. So I went after him, and I had a chat to him, and he said, I'm on my way to Durban to go and set up the first recce's. He was on his way then.
Yes.
And, I resigned not too much later than that, because they were only starting at that stage. Do I regret it? My wife, when I told her that I was going to resign, she just said, I cannot believe it, because you enjoy it. And I've done so many camps, and I've done so many things. And you've had your hardships and that, but you've had stacks of fun as well. And she said, I can't believe that you want to leave. And sometimes I regret that I didn't go. But then again, I had a long innings, and I was back every year, and I spent a lot of time there. But maybe if the war was earlier, then I would have stayed on. But sometimes I regret it, because lots of these people were good friends of mine. I'm reading a book by Al Fenter, and there's lots of the guys in these battles that he's talking about, old friends of mine.
Yeah.
And but then again, I might have been killed, so who knows? Yeah. Life is funny. So I've been spared to live a long time. So that's great. Let me just see if there was something else. Yes, I must tell you this. When we arrived at the battalion, we were going to go up to Madimbu, which we didn't know. They dropped us there. But we got into the battalion on a Friday night, and Saturday they had a regimental dance. And I heard one of the PF captains moaning like hell. He said, my wife's going to kill me because I'm on duty tonight. And so I can't go. She can't go. She's bought a dress and everything. I said, tell you what, you go. I'll do your duty tonight. I'm here. I'm doing nothing. So I'll take duty officer. So off he went. And at the time, Willie Ward was sergeant, and another sergeant was, what was his name? Very, very well-known guy from Natal. Gee, was having a very big...
was it...
Norman Reeves.
No, I was about to say Norman Reeves.
Norman Reeves.
I met Norman Reeves through skydiving circles, yes.
Naughty bugger. Anyway, Norman Reeves and Willie were there, and they went to regimental dance. And around about 9 o'clock, 9:15, these guys arrived back at the battalion. They stole the pig with the apple from the main table, and they brought it back to the battalion for the guys. Those are the naughty guys that we had. Unbelievable. I never saw anything. Yeah, Sherbet. And there's one escape and evasion thing that we did, and when we were tortured and so on. Norman Reeves was the first to be caught. And he always had a big mouth. And I thought, geez, if they catch you, you're gonna blurt it out. Not a damn. I got so much respect for that guy. They caught him late at night. They stripped him naked, and this is to the west of Kimberley somewhere, a couple of 100 kilometers. So it's freezing at night and hot as hell in the day. And they tied a 25-litre jerry can around his neck, and they poured water over him every 5 minutes. And they were hitting him with camel thorn, not to hurt him, just to make it uncomfortable and miserable, with a bag over your head and all that sort of thing. And they kept him going until about 4 in the morning, and he collapsed. And when he collapsed, we had a doctor. We were told there would be a doctor present. So the doctor said, no, he's okay. Get him warmed up and stuck him in blankets and everything. And then by about 8 o'clock the next morning, the sun was coming up, and it was really hot there. I spoke to Norman afterwards, because I also had the heat treatment, but they rolled him up in this big tarpaulin, this railway tarpaulin. It was an angle like that. And he said to me, Roy, I could just feel the water running down my back and between my legs and out past my feet. And they stuck him in the sun there for hours. I think he got about 11 hours of torture. And eventually the doc said, that's it. Never opened his mouth. The idea of the torture was so that you could find out where the next RV is. So you could ambush the guys. And it was halfway through the week, and they were very unhappy that they hadn't caught anybody, and they caught him. Yeah, so I had a lot of time for him. Yeah, I told you about Marcelsport. Yeah, the last thing, not to belabor the thing, is I had a couple of years when I was deployed with the D Company in Durban. D Company, we had an OC, Major Peter Smythe, he was a businessman, and Pete Brokenshaw, who was a loot, he was on the first course.
Right.
So he was my senior by 3 months, and myself. And we were the 3 officers down there, and then every now and then we'd have a get-together, and then we'd have bivouacs and things like that, and then they would send a DAC down with 60 shoots, and we get a couple of jumps in and that type of thing. And we did a couple of jumps. One was at Mount Edgecombe, and the night before we had a big braai, and about 11 o'clock the major, myself, Pete Brokenshaw, Dr. Klomp, and what's his name, Donkey Lombard, the pilot of the DAC, famous guy. He got killed with those Mercurius accidents. And we went, from the braai, we went up onto the beach somewhere in the major's car, and we had a bottle of scotch, and we polished it off between us. I wasn't watching who was drinking, so I'm pretty sure that the pilot didn't drink, but For the rest of us, we drank. We got back 4 o'clock in the morning, and then we had to tree on at 5 to go to the Durban airport, the old one. And then first plane was up at 7 o'clock, and we jumped. That was really great. One guy got injured because you didn't have to do a roll, you did nothing, because it's this long sugar cane, you just fall into it. And one guy fell into a concrete irrigation ditch, so that wasn't so good. So you had the times when you really battled out there, but I can honestly say I enjoyed every single moment, and I'm sure if I had stayed longer and I went through some of the other courses, I would have enjoyed that as well.
Yeah.
Enjoyed being with the guys.
Roy, it's been a privilege to chat to you and hear your story, and
Thanks.
yeah, it's amazing. And to inform the viewers, Roy is still an active paraglider pilot, still flying a lot across country. So yeah,
Try to keep going.
long may it continue.
Thank you. Oh, well, I've been under canopy since 1963, and I don't intend giving up.